The Jaffrey Public Library has a remarkable program in partnership with the Jaffrey Historical Society, and recently the Amos Fortune exhibit has come into play and represents Amos Fortune, a freed slave who died well over 200 years ago, but left his mark on the village of Jaffrey and young people around the world through the works of Elizabeth Yates, who wrote the book Amos Fortune, Free Man. Amos had 3 wives in his lifetime. He purchased 2 different women who passed within a year, probably during the time he was in Woburn. And then his 3rd wife, Violet, was by his side for some period of time, and her gravestone is next to his in the graveyard, with a note that by sale the slave of Amos Fortune, by marriage his wife, by her fidelity his friend and solace. She died his widow. His gravestone is in the graveyard at Jaffrey Center, and in a very short line written by his friend Laban Ainsworth, Amos Fortune was born free in Africa, was a slave in America, purchased his own liberty at age 60, and professed Christianity. His life was recognized by the citizens of Jaffrey in a number of ways, which today we celebrate with a road in town near his home, which is called Amos Fortune Road, and a number of other points for the Amos Fortune Forum and the education of young people in the schools, which was a contribution from his will. He left $240, which became a large amount of money as it sat. Why did Amos Fortune come to Jaffrey? We know that he came from Woburn, Mass. Elizabeth Yates' imagination tells us that he stopped on his way to Keene and looked out on Mount Monadnock and told Cyclops, his one-eyed horse, that we shall come back. This is the place we want to be. And at some point he did. We have in the collection a glass case which holds the limited artifacts that we have. He has a compass, which we are very proud to have found, that's in that, along with pictures of the house and the barn and the brook where he lived for a period of time. His tanning tools are on display with a little instructional on how he processed the hides from the brook. We have multiple copies of actual receipts that were saved from all of his customers over a period of time. The importance of Amos was promoted by Elizabeth Yates, who was an award-winning author, wrote a book in 1950 on Amos, and that spread the story around the world. We have found 2 cassette tapes with interviews from NPR and Radio Free America. We know that some things are factual and some things are imaginary as she pieced her book together. And we here in Jaffrey at the library have entertained families that have come from homeschooling. The 7th graders at Jaffrey Middle School learned about the pride of Jaffrey that was Amos. And another evidence in our exhibit is a quilt which was prepared by students in Texas. There's ample evidence of all of the aspects of his life, including a list from his estate of all of his furniture, stock, farming and tools. There is a map that shows what the territory looked like at the time and where his home is located on Amos Fortune Road. Amos Fortune was a prominent citizen in Jaffrey who was born in Africa, brought to this country as a slave, worked hard as an apprentice as a tanner until age 65. He became an entrepreneur in his own right, and through his character, he influenced people all over the world.